Test.
We're 61 years and a month. No, 51 years and a half. I figured you'd say. Really? I'm too old to be trained by another. That'd be good.
That's a good one.
Too late to be retrained.
Mindful of the cable up here. Y'all need this too much tonight, but there's the cops. All right, James, what do you do? What'd you do? Jim said you were starting fights. No fights?
You must be talking about it. You must be talking about it. Yeah.
Not yet.
Everybody got quiet again. She was here in January. Who had it last month? I don't remember who had it last month. All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started tonight. Thank you for coming in tonight for our March meeting, Flatland Woodturners. Told the camera, looking at that. Yeah. All right, just past stuff to bring up. Turning Saturday is September 13th, Youth Building in Bloomington. You're here tonight.
I am here.
Do you have any more to add on it, Dan?
Not really, I guess. At this point, I do have a message into Michael,
Blankenship?
to be the featured turner, but I haven't heard back from him yet, so.
All right.
How you coming on Demonstrator?
I got one. So far. No, actually.
Rich Nichols.
From Rich Nichols from Lincoln.
The most likely.
Okay. I'll do that.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the way down, man, if I can remember who it is. I know I got it written down now. Let me think. I'll get it. But yeah, we're looking for demonstrators. We've got the lathe, so we don't have to worry about getting lathe brought in.
You have a problem getting rafter prizes? That's what I'm worried about.
Haven't really got into it already yet.
Contact Robert Sorby, they give away their stuff early in the year.
Okay.
You wait very long at all the next day. One year they sent us stuff, one year they sent Springfield.
Okay. So I'll make sure I get hold of them before too long. So, but yeah, there's not really much to add at this point.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know when you guys get the sign-ups and everything for that going, and we can get it posted up. April 11th and 12th, Midwest Pen Turners up in Chicago. Then later on in the year, Segmented Wood Turning Symposium up in Northbrook, 26th and 28th of September. Let's see. We have anybody new tonight? I saw a couple new faces floating around out there.
I brought a few guests,
Yeah.
so,
Cody's brought a few guests.
yeah, I got my mom and fiance here, so
All right.
Michelle and Mimi, they're here to watch and see good stuff.
All right, guys, be in line. Nobody calls any shenanigans now. Especially you, Jerry. Yeah.
You can't hear it.
Yeah. So don't call shenanigans, Jerry. We got guests.
I'm not in charge of that anymore. You are.
Oh, we're in trouble. Tonight, for our demonstration, Cody's going to be going over his pig butt bowl. So that'll be an interesting one to go over. Then April, Sam, you're still on for a square edge bowl. All right. That leaves May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Got anybody that wants to do some demonstrating or anything like that? Talk about any subjects? I'm always looking for volunteers. What's that?
What can you demonstrate, Jerry?
Yeah.
Jerry will do something.
Oh, I wouldn't see Jerry unless it'd be like sitting down at the lathe or something like that, maybe.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, it's been kind of a foot thing too. I've got foot issues going on myself, but not as bad as Jerry. So, that is pretty much all I've got. Does anybody else have anything new or anything to bring up? Paul?
I was over at Cedar Wood Shop this afternoon, and he wanted to remind everybody they're having their Boneyard Festival, Art Festival, April 4th and 5th. If anybody wanted to take anything over the show, asked if I would mention it tonight.
That was April 4th and 5th?
He said it was the 4th and 5th, but his email says 4th through the 6th. So.
They usually listed as over 3 days, but the Sunday is usually not well attended or well publicized.
Yeah.
Most of the things happen Friday evening and Saturday.
Yeah, it's usually the way most of them go. And I know that they had I got an app on my phone called Pulse Point that picks up all the fire and ambulance calls in the area, police, some of the police stuff. But last week when we had all the winds, there was a vegetation fire over there at CU Woodshop that had a lot of engines and big response showing on the app. So I don't know if anybody's heard anything, if they're still going, or must be still going if we're still sending out emails, so.
Yeah, there today, everything was fine.
Must have been clearing out the back or something then, because, I mean, that was a lot of response, so I was just curious of how they fared. But, anybody else anything new? Anybody want to bring up anything?
Anybody else? I'm gonna go.
Where's it at, Scott?
It's up in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Okay.
Oh, the Minneapolis one?
On the fence, yeah. What dates? Pardon me? What dates? 12, 13, 14 June, I believe it is. That sounds right.
Yeah. My big hit this year is I'm going down to Austin, Texas for my niece's wedding.
When are you going down there?
Last weekend of August, kind of like the Labor Day.
22nd through the 24th.
What's that?
The SWAT is going on the 22nd through the 24th.
That's right before I head down there, because it's going to be the 27th, my younger sister and I.
Yeah, wait till Texas.
Yeah, I'd probably, if I was driving myself, I probably would, but I got my younger sister going with me, so. Yeah. I don't know if I can talk her into taking any more days off. She's already taken a whole week, and I'm taking a whole week. But what's funny is my niece is getting married, and I got a message from them last night. They're going to have beer donkeys at the reception. I'm like, what the heck is a beer donkey? And they sent me a picture, and it's basically a little donkey, has two coolers strapped to the side of it, and you got bottles of beer all in it. So the donkey just, well, I guess, wanders around, and everybody can grab beer out of there. Only in Texas.
ASPCA is not on it already?
Oh, it's Texas. I mean, ASPCA is probably scared of going down there. So I thought that was interesting. That sounds a little wild for a wedding reception, but, you know. But that's all I've got. So anybody else with anything? No? All right. Go ahead and do show and tell items then. And oh yes, Dwight, he brought in a cash register over there if anybody's interested in it. It's up for grabs. Looks like it's made, it honestly looks as old as I am. Slightly used, as is.
I had it for years.
50% off.
Oh, damn.
You ever go to Tractor Shop Crowbar? You ever go to
You broke it, it's yours.
He's breaking you bought it. If I could only could have caught that on camera.
Little super glue there.
Yeah, some JB Weld or super glue.
Crowbar?
Sorry about that, Dwight.
Bill's in hell.
Mike also brought in some sandpaper over there too. And I'm just gonna leave that up to anybody if anyone grabs it. It's like a little kind of 1-inch roll of it. It's like what you had left over or.
Somebody's samples they brought in last year, I think they're off of a drum sander for a floor sander. I don't remember who brought that in. You remember that? Yeah. They brought a big roll. I had other stuff, I didn't need all that, so I brought somebody else had it.
Yep, so I'll just leave that up to grab whoever wants to get that sandpaper. Go ahead and head over there, check it out. And if Crowbar fixes the tray, he might be taking it home with him. One thing I forgot to mention for last month was a President's Challenge for this month. So I apologize about that, but we only had a few people here last month. That sort of came out and braved the cold.
Seemed like a cold hit every month.
Yeah,
Or people
January
get
hit, now we got nice weather.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to snow Thursday from what I heard.
Up north.
I was north of I-72 last I saw.
Yeah, well, that runs through Champaign, not above it, so you're all right. You're not gonna get it.
Well, I live
Anything
north.
will be gone the next day.
Huh?
Anything you get will be gone the next day.
Yeah,
It's just working there.
yeah, it's just the chaotic Illinois weather.
It'll be messy.
So, do you want to do President's Challenge for next month or just wait till the next odd month?
Keep them on the odd ones.
You're the president.
I like your feedback.
You can go ahead and announce what it is.
Big bowl.
Try to make a bowl.
Well, if we keep with the odd months, then it'd be a members challenge for next month, right? Right, walk over
Yeah, we can do a members
And
challenge.
so, what do you think about the idea of,
I say members challenge, try replicating Cody's demonstration
Yeah.
tonight and see what you can do.
an animal bowl?
Animal, I mean, suggestions out there are animal bowls, all kinds of bowls.
Back in bowl.
The back end bowl.
And
Someone said a foot bowl.
I could
Then
move.
I-
I can do.
Now then I replied, okay, American or European? Someone got the Monty Python reference.
There's a big difference.
Corey likes to call it.
All right, so with that,
Corey's never been.
we'll go ahead and do show and tell.
What are the flyers out for?
They're just left over from turning Saturday last year. There's kind of, I think there's a flyer on tools. For this one. I think there was a grinding one up here too. Yeah, ultimate sharpening guide. And then we'll flyer and glue loose and some stickers. Those are up to grab if anybody wants one. If not, they'll probably be going in turn Saturday for this year. All right. Ted, do you have anything?
I do.
Let me get this spun around here.
Campfire, children. I've been going to the rocks, pushing up
Where am I not walking here?
cherry and walnut. This is chestnut. Maple. And these two are Bradford pear. This one here is plywood. Oak plywood. I didn't do no good enough on the bottom, so the veneer shows on both sides of it. But it's not cutting. They all got a couple coats of polyurethane. That's it.
Doug Bowling here. Last month I brought in a block of wood and asked for volunteers that would core it. No volunteers except I had a volunteer that I could borrow the coring machine that he had bought from me back in April or May.
That's the way to do it.
So I took the coring machine and I cored out a cherry bowl, and came out very nicely for me. And I do have the one that I cored out, and it has also been completed. So very pleased with it, and I'm going to keep the coring tool for another month because I got some more things to do.
What'd you finish on that, Doug?
It's Danish oil.
Danish oil. Looks nice.
Beautiful bowl.
Sam Force from Mount Zion. This just a little cherry. This is a small piece of wood. I thought I was going to throw it away, and I thought, well, I can do something with that. So I turned 3 of these yesterday. I haven't got a finish on it yet. And then turned a couple of segmented pieces here. And my wife, she just finished painting them yesterday, so I haven't turned the bottoms off of them yet. And this is about my 4th attempt that keeping the point on a triangle, and I finally was able to keep them, but with the spalted maple, I lost a lot of the fine points on them. So, and then here's another version that my wife will be painting something in the middle of this, so when she gets that done, I'll turn the back off of this and finish it. But keeping the points on a triangle on a flat piece is a lot harder than it looks. And just the maple that I used to go around the edge so I could keep these points, I used over 5 linear foot of maple to get this so I didn't lose my points. But I didn't lose the points. And I made it out of about 1¼ inch piece of stock so that I was able to split that ring in two, and I got another bow at home that matches this one. So that's all I got.
Bob Griffin from Decatur. I was inspired by this guy on the internet that was making something that looked like this into cutting boards, plaid version. So I thought, well, that's a good idea. I'll try that. So many, many hours of cutting and gluing, cutting and gluing, cutting and gluing, cutting and gluing, and about an hour to turn this. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, they're alternating colors all the way around. It's 531 segments just in the feature range, and there's a little over 200 in the field, so somewhere around 700 segments total. Doesn't look like that much, but this is not really a big bowl. Some of you remember I turn stuff this big sometimes. So anyway, this is a fun little project. It's a pain in the neck to get everything figured out because everything's got to be exactly the same size, and if you look close, they don't turn out to be the same size, unfortunately. But it's an interesting looking piece, I think. It's about 10 coats of poly, and then I used my auto finishing process, which features 4 different types of either rubbing compound or finishing compound or final spray finish, McGuire's, and something else, I forget what I used. But anyway, it's interesting.
Very nice.
Cody Jones, Urbana. So first thing, another U-root vessel, because we got to keep it consistent. Like the shape, didn't have any idea what it was going to be. Sometimes I kind of have more of an idea when I put it on and rough it out, but this one was just, we're going to put it on between 2 centers and we're going to kind of go from there. So kind of an elegant shape, like it, good colors. And then I brought in the pig butt bowl, which I'll be demonstrating. So, you know, you got your little tail there, so pig butt, but it's also a bowl and can sit like that, or you put it up on a shelf that way. So that's what I'll be going over and demonstrating at the end of the meeting today. So that's what I got.
Paul Woolley from Decatur. Paul Maple, Peppermill. It's finished with lacquer. Has a P on top for pepper. Not for Paul.
Not for
Chris? Chris from Bloomington. I've got 5 bowls because they were with me because I was working on finishing them. 2 out of ambrosia maple or some sort of maple, don't know exactly. One, the bark stayed on, the other it didn't. Lavish full of red cedar. These 3 are finished with tung oil. And then 2 walnut bowls out with beeswax, mineral oil finish on them. So. Scott from Warrensburg. I'll start with
got a piece of wood a couple years back from Jerry Sears. And then I went over to Corey's shop and we turned it out, and then I went home and finished it. So it's a little bit of spalted maple. So from Jerry Sears' yard to Corey's shop to my shop to here. And so I've got a little logo on the bottom. It's my snack bowl logo. It says Night Owl Snacks. Who's to know? Then I got invited to Sam's shop for segmenting day, and he had this put on a lathe for me, so I quickly, under his instruction, turned out a little platter. Got the wood on it. It's red grandis, maple, black walnut, and cedar. And I've never heard of red grandis before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And that's that one right there, huh? Or is that the cedar?
That's cedar.
And that's the red grandis?
That's the paleo.
Keep going, you'll get there.
Okay. Did I label it right? Red grandis, cedar, red grandis,
And if
maple.
you see it before you turn it, it has a
Okay.
red hue.
Did I get
It
it
just
right?
kind of turns red
I think
over
I did.
time or something?
I think
No,
Okay.
it starts out.
And then, for fun, last fall I was turning mallets, and then I made elliptical mallets. And they're kind of neat. And so I gave these a new name called the mullet mallet. One side for show, the other to take the blow. I never got that hairdo because I was in the military, so it was popular back then. I didn't get to do it, so this is it. So I'd like to, if anyone needs a mallet in a shop, please come on up, and if it fits your hand, take it with you, okay? Because I've got these, and I'll be making a few more just to play around with. Maybe the bigger one for you, Sam.
This is fine.
I got a couple out of Osage, maple, and then walnut.
You sure you want to get rid of that?
Yeah, I've already, given two of those away. Yeah, so everybody else check to see if the handles fit your hand.
Very pure mahogany. I only brought the one thing today because I tried making wig racks. I got one in Pennsylvania and a couple in Dwight and one mahogany. Anyway, this I happened to see, and everything you see on YouTube you should not do. But sometimes something grabs you and you say, try it. This is fine metallic flake, and that is just polyurethane, not epoxy in here. I know epoxy is what a lot of people will use, but I've seen one on polyurethane, and I tried that. The only problem is, it takes forever for it to dry. But other than that, it'll work.
Jerry, you could have stayed over there sitting, I just held it up for you. You just stayed over there sitting, I just held it up for you.
It makes you stronger, right?
Oh, this is maple. The other two are good. Look
Got a
at that.
piece from '08 that was returned to me.
Yeah.
Walnut from my father-in-law's tree in Piper City. And he passed away about 10 years ago, and now his wife is clearing things out a little bit, so she gave it back to me. And it's back in the days when I thought everything had to be very thin.
So did you hollow it through the hole, or is that the lid you put on there?
I cut it off here, and this is an insert. That's kind of just garden dibble. That's about the only thing I've turned this year. I got surgery on my foot January 7th, and so I was making some dibbles because we had run out of them. That's all.
I've been working on wick stands. I got a red, a blue, and just a plain. And here's a double. This is walnut wood. So, and this is 569. But it's taken me 7 years to do it. So that's about 72 a year. So a little more than one a week.
So are these double ones popular? Do you know?
Well, we're starting to take some Are these down to Edwardsville, I think?
Okay.
And they're asking, this is special order, for a double that they're gonna put on their rack. So this is a prototype. If they like it, I'll probably be making some more.
Cool.
That's it.
Mike Warren from Georgetown. I haven't turned anything, but I have a story to tell you, a long story.
A good one?
Oh, chair. I think it is.
Okay.
Benefited me, I'll shorten it down. So y'all know Cindy Drozda?
Yeah.
Okay. She has those free demos she does on Friday. So she's been doing about 3 years. So I can only listen to it while I'm working. I can't watch the video. So she gives away something that Friday that she does for an hour. So you put your name in the raffle, whatever. And I keep seeing guys win, and the same guy wins again. So back in January, she entered my name in the drawing, you know, real quick, and she drew my name. So I won. And it was the girl from England, Emma Cook, the Tiny Turner. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Emma?
Emma.
Emma.
Yeah. She was on there with her, and she said she'd do the prize. So it's the Chameleon Flakes
Yeah.
kit. She did a kit for that.
Yeah.
So she got hold of me a couple weeks later. She
That
sent
stuff looks cool.
Yeah. And Cindy was demoing that, just a quick demo of her paid demo coming up the following weekend, showing what she was going to do. So she volunteered for giving 2 of these away.
What's it
So,
called?
Chameleon flakes.
these are chameleon flakes, she calls them, but she has another one too. They're just like little,
So they change colors.
for gilding is what it was. It's got metallic in it, I think, or something like that, metallic flakes. So anyway, I finally won after like 3 years of listening to all these things and keep entering, finally won. So then she had a demo coming up to do her finial box that she's never done a demo for. So I went ahead and paid for the Saturday demo. The Friday before that, she had her Friday afternoon thing, and she was giving away a free ticket. I want a ticket. So I already paid for so I said, I'll just go ahead. Somebody goes, well, Mike already won, so do it again in the comments. And she said, no, he won, so he could still have it. So instead of refunding my money, she's going to put me in for the one in April, I think. So the finial box was coming up, and it's on Saturday, and I'm working, so I don't get to watch them. I have to wait till she redoes the video, edits the video. And she did the demo. Sunday night, I get an email from her showing a tracking number for an order. She sells tools. I haven't bought tools from her for a while. I couldn't figure out what it was. Opened my mailbox Friday, and there's a box inside my mailbox.
What it is.
And I won the demo piece that she made. Oh, wow. And I didn't put it out here on the table because I didn't want to pass it around. So this is what she made. And the lid is now too tight because she's in Colorado.
So it's a pop.
So it's supposed to be loose fit, but it's because of humidity, it's now changed. So that was so I won 3 times in like 2 months.
Has that got laser engraving on the bottom of it?
No, she did that with a Robert Sorby texture tool.
On the other, yeah, on that.
I think that's just a gold pin. She
Oh.
wrote it on it. So this is madrone and bloodwood. And then she textured, and I think she might have used some of her stuff here. And then the little jewel is just a cheap little thing from Hobby Lobby. She stuck in there.
That's pretty nice.
Does that jewel cover up a hole for affixing the finial, like drilling in to affix it?
I haven't watched the whole video yet. It's like 4 hours long, the demo video.
Gotcha.
I haven't got all the way through it yet.
Okay.
When you sign
I don't
up for
think,
one,
I'm not sure, last time I seen her do something like this, I don't think she had a hole left
Yeah.
over. She had to fill.
That piece I've got,
She purposely drilled a hole. Yeah.
Okay.
So she does a free demo every Friday?
Every other Friday, roughly. The other Fridays is Todd Raines down in Texas. Yeah, like an hour long.
so the paid videos,
Mhm.
for the people that buy the video, how long do you have access?
6 months.
Oh, wow.
She does 6 months. AAW does 30 days.
Yeah, that's what I was
which I think is kind of a rip. They charge you $25 or $30 for a 2-hour video, then you only get to watch for 30 days. She does six months, so
I didn't realize it was that long. That's not bad.
that's it.
Anyone else? James? You guys back there? No? Let me put this on mute for a moment.
We pay yearly.
Yearly.
Yeah, it's a yearly rent. And we've paid that in January.
Yeah, January.
She made it home at 6:40.
Oh, and if you wanna pay your dues, you can pay them now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and pull up the raffle tickets up here on the table. So if you just want to come on up here, call a number. And then we'll do after the break, or do during the break, we'll do raffle prizes. So show and tell prizes up here on the table, raffle prizes over there on Mike Sargent's whole table. So, I think everybody brought in chunks of lumber. Probably see some more after some more storms come through. Everybody survived the storms all right. So, all right, first number up is 437. Ted?
Take a piece of walnut, Ted.
You don't want anything up there, Ted? Nope. All right, Ted's re-gifted. Next number up, 444.
I get wood.
Make more mallets.
Yeah. Oh, this looks fun.
There you go.
This looks fun.
There's some mini mallets.
Red something. 440. Throw that big chunk of walnut.
Big chunk of walnuts.
Here you go, Roger.
All right. 446. Jerry?
I've got stuff I need to go out and cut. I can't. Yeah, that too. What do we got? What's the package?
That's a tool bag. Probably should just open that up and look at it. I'm not getting my knife out this time because it's dull and snot. And everybody's giving me crap about it. So big old tool pouch. Cool. All right. 448 is the next one. All right, next one up. 443. $442.
Re-gift.
Your gift. Don't want any chunks of wood? All right. 439. Sam?
Ambidextrous.
441. All right.
Through there,
And 445. You gonna regift it? All right. Got two left in here. 447. You got ticket number 447. Crowbar?
What's left?
Pin blanks.
Mini mallets.
Mini mallets?
Mini mallets.
Yeah. All right, so that's everything. Crowbar's got the bucket over there for raffle tickets. We'll take a about 20-minute or so break and come back and we'll watch someone describe how to make a pig butt bowl.
That's right.
It just gets more fun and fun saying that every time.
I live more.
That's what kids should know.
Yeah, that's good.
How's your wife doing?
You know, she was supposed to have hers done in September. She kicked it out. Mine fell to the top real fast.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Are you just still working?
Which I did that before when she.
What kind of wood you got? What kind of lumber you got?
Well, before I write your name down,
What do you get a board foot for cherry?
it's $25.
You got like that curly cherry up there? See that board on top? Curly cherry, it's a pretty piece of wood. You ever get like that?
Jim Anderson.
Or is it pretty much just straight grain cherry?
I haven't seen it, it really looks, I got some in the top of the keel, I'm ready to empty it out.
Right?
Some of it's
J-I-C.
initial 16 foot.
I might think about it, not right now, but I might get some of that. You got any maple? Hard maple?
Yeah.
You got any character to it, or is it just a straight grain?
Straight grain, a little bit tan, a little bit white.
Oh. $3 a board foot for it too?
That's about half.
$5 over there.
How are you?
This is interesting. How do you do the square thing? Just cut 4 pieces? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. All right, that is cool. I'm gonna try that. I saw seen that on YouTube, I guess they sent me a picture, I said, hell, I can do that. Yeah, well, that little bowl I put, that's where I got those.
Pardon me?
Scott did that one.
I might get some cherry from you.
I think it's what they call
Don't need
spaghetti.
Hey, it's a
She
problem.
got it on there, maybe mahogany.
About 8%.
Do you need to have anything
Because we're gonna get around here.
Yeah.
The TV to, you already got plugged in, okay.
Yeah, I got it plugged in and I'm just trying to look about mirroring my.
Windows key and P. Windows key.
You ever had any chestnut?
I have. I turned some, I had some butter down.
Right here.
Boy, that was good.
Extend, duplicate.
I had a piece of that, I made a couple
Let's
of
duplicate your screen right now.
cool.
Yeah, I deal with that work all the time.
I,
Anytime someone needs an issue.
the tree was in my yard 20 years ago. Back then I wasn't turning, you know. And when I had a guy come cut it down, you know, tree service, I didn't know what it was.
This come
I said, that's from the
cabinet shop.
I had to get the lumber.
They had
It was about
small
12 or
pieces.
14 inches or whatever. But I had to cut up the lumber.
Like $75 for
Oh, very rare. They were extinct.
He had a piece and told me for a piece of wood.
And that was a good trade. Beautiful, pretty wood. I'll stay in touch with you.
Do you ever do any roses?
Once in a while, yeah. A lot of times I'll put a little flower in the bottom of the bowl. I do my boxes where I do it on top. You know, but that's about all I do with it. There's a lot of things you can do with it that I just don't do. I'm not big in it, but I just like to look. It's fun. There's all kinds of, I got about 10 different plates for it. Change the design. All they were using.
That's right.
You like that or?
Yeah, walnut.
I had a friend in Gulfport, Mississippi. He made one and he helped me make this one.
Okay, so I forgot one.
The plans are online. The biggest thing is you've got to get a shaft. And he's got a metal lathe and a milling machine, so he made my shaft. So it didn't cost me much to get it done at all. And the plates, he had the rose plates, you know, the design plates. So he just duplicated them out of HDPE. I wanted to shoot HDPE and cut them out, and he made the, you know, that for me. So I didn't have a lot involved in it. It's nice. I wanted to, I put a motor on it. I got tired of cranking it. So I bought a motor and put a motor on it. So
The next step is put them on the machine, price them, like.
you can see them online, but it's just it's a box, but it's got a,
Because I don't really want to do
what happens is the thing isolates around to that wheel, the different pattern on the wheel makes a different pattern on the cut. It's got to cut it straight, stick straight out. As you rotate it, it turns around like this, and all in a circle, and it's jagged because of the plate that I disc. It's got the pattern cut in. Yeah. You do a lot more than that with it. I mean, you can look at it, like I said, look online. You can't think of the guy that designed it. It's called an NDF. This website was for it. And you can download it.
Big butt bowl.
If you want to see it again. There's not many around. Michael Blankenship and blind guy. He's got I belong to that club. Is that the way it brings it in? He's got a big commercial. So if I need something later, I just take it off. You know, that's a learning curve on that, and you gotta keep up with it. Right now, I forgot everything I I'm getting too old to try to learn this stuff.
How's Ted doing? Yes.
There ain't no way I'd do that. I don't have the patience for something like that. Or the skill.
May 22nd. My last day. About 3 weeks. Wrote to HR department on Sunday afternoon. And I let them know that I'd be with the school on the 22nd. It hit the end of let me check my spelling. And then I went to hit it again. Let me have proper punctuation because they're going to be looking at this. And finally, I just said, today, responded to the invitation for the retirement. Re-indicated.
Yeah, I remember that this morning.
Talking away, not giving you a ticket.
Months ago, the special ed district realized that when I leave,
Can't talk.
so they said, would you be interested if we can create a position, part-time position, that you would work with the teaching assistant. We have to do special observations, particularly with that problem.
All right, everybody, we're ready to draw some numbers here.
Part-time position.
Okay, I got a lot of numbers here, I just clear out of here.
Which is
So, you get this straight out?
Yes. You do it again?
Don't touch that button.
All right, first ticket. First number is 842. 842.
James got it.
James got it.
they get it?
See?
They told you.
Yeah, looks like it to me. On wood or that case right there?
I need a case.
Oh, do you need a case? It's not beer, so.
Gotta have something for it, screws, nuts.
Yeah. Pennies. Loose change.
837.
Take the cap out of your bar.
Go for the other chunk.
Make some brown. That was mine, actually. Ted gave it to me. That's your one.
All right, crowbar, you got 826?
Yes.
I just pulled that one. All right, next one up. 831. 831. Jim? Huh?
Yes, I've got 831.
All right.
He's the first winner.
Mike called it out.
When you buy $10 worth,
All right, 834.
that's me.
This
Watch those pen blanks. They're gonna slide out.
Chris is gonna take them out.
All right, 843.
Need some more?
I said 834, now it's 843.
That'll be you.
James?
That's my thing. That's on home.
All right, last chunk of wood
Another one.
goes to 847.
Sandpaper.
I heard a woo-hoo.
That wasn't me.
Wasn't it?
I woo-hooed, but it wasn't me.
Is that you, James?
Big good sandpaper was.
James, you're on a hot streak tonight.
Wow. Good for you, Jim.
John.
James?
Cash register.
That sand picture.
Cash register.
I said everybody grab it.
Oh, I don't care, what do you want to do with it? Put it up there.
Nobody's
Put
read
it
it.
up there and draw a number.
Nobody's read it.
James will probably give it.
All right, Mike said, draw a number for this. Sandpaper, make it go away. 845. Is your number?
No.
James?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. He got three. That's what he wanted, wasn't it?
There you go, James.
He said, make sure I get my money's worth. There you
You
go.
got your money's worth tonight.
Three in here, he said, or something.
All right, and then we got this slightly abused.
Thanks, Robot.
I don't have any numbers left.
And it don't require a scoreboard.
Oh, yeah, it's up for grabs for anybody. So, although, break it, divide it.
Hey, I fixed it.
Yeah. You don't push the button like I did. All right, let me get this cleaned up here, and then we're going to get started with Cody.
Yep. Now how do we get this back on again? I know we.
It just clips.
Yeah, but I don't hear anything from it.
Push the button.
Do we hear anything? Oh, there we go. All right. Where are we at? Aim on this guy again. All right. So, okay, can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, we're going to be going over a demonstration on this pig butt bowl here, and so we'll walk through it. So let's go over to number 3 now. This will be fairly quick and I think fairly simple, so if you've got questions, feel free to toss them out. But it's a really simple project. It's easy to turn. The only difficult or slightly more difficult is the conceptualizing it and kind of visualizing it. But in terms of turning, it's just making a bowl and you make it with a foot. So turning wise, pretty simple. So first here, I'm going to back up and talk about carving a little bit. And so this is just a little video of a bandsaw deer. So if you just take two sides of a shape and you cut it out on the bandsaw, you can end up with a pretty good rough turning. So on that, they took the front profile, they cut it out, glue it back together, and then now you cut it again. And so I'll go to the next one. So this is finishing that process. But again, you're just taking the front profile, you cut it out, you turn it sideways, you cut out the side profile, and then what you're left with, once you take apart all of the pieces, you've got a pretty good rough shape of what it is. And so this has been designed so that way it's a good full shape when you finish it. The legs are in the same plane, that kind of thing. So that's carving. It's pretty simple, but you can get you can just use the two profiles and get a pretty good shape. So this is ring carving. I'm not going to say what it is in German, but it's making a side profile, but all the way in a ring. And so you can see that you can get pretty good details with the lathe, but again, this is just the side profile. And we're not going to go into this too much, but it does take a little bit of visualizing and especially measuring. And I think that in last month's AAW journal, they had an article on this. So there's more details out there on how to do that. But this is just kind of demonstrating that you can do pretty good detail with the side profile. Okay, so on the lathe you can get a side view, but you can't really get the top or the front view. And so you guys may have already done this with you're doing a foot, but then rather than doing a full ring around the foot, you carve it off, and so you've got 3 nubs. Same idea. This is, these guys do a lot of vessels that have handles, and on the left video you can see him turning the whole ring where that handle is going to be, and then you carve away where it was except for the spots where the handle was. And if you guys remember from when I was talking about the chains and making handles with the chain, it's the same idea, it's just simpler. So you just leave a ring where your handle is or where your foot is, and then you can carve it away. So does that make sense? Any questions there? Now if we go to actually doing the pig bowl, I mean, it's pretty simple. I'd start with a tenon, and you're just going to turn a normal bowl. So here I've got a tenon on both sides, but I'm holding it by a tenon, and then I'm going to make my side profile. And the thing here, this is the only part that it takes a little bit of visualizing and thinking about. So this is where you're thinking about what is the shape that you're doing. And so this is the piece here that I was turning, and I'm making the legs are the part that's sticking out. Okay, and so to kind of help visualize it here, we've got a pig there, and the legs, oh, what happened there? It's gone. That's right. Okay, yeah, so there we go. So the legs actually match pretty well. You can't really see, but there is a little bit of a knee joint and a little bit of a back of the knee. So it's not as simple as just straight up and down, but you could. That's all your call of how detailed you want to make it. And then for my pig, I'm making it more amusing, so I'm making it fat and having it round all the way rather than the actual skinny into the belly. And when you're looking at it on the lathe, you kind of have to look at just the bottom half because you're only thinking about the legs, though in reality, you're going to be turning the legs on the top as well at the same time. But you have to kind of just like forget about them and not pay attention to them because eventually you're going to remove them. Okay? Any questions there? Because I mean, again, this is the only difficult part is kind of the visualizing it on kind of that 3D rotated axis. Then you turn it around, you finish the inside like a normal bowl. I mean, this one here, it's just a normal bowl, and so there's nothing fancy there. We had our tenon on at the beginning, that way we can turn it around like that. And then once we get the inside, then we're going to turn our tenon away. You're going to leave a bit of material that's going to be your tail, and that can be more or less material depending on how big you want it. On this one, I've got it sitting pretty flat to the surface, but if you want to get fancy and have it sticking out or, changing the shape, you can leave more material. And then you can also finish the shape of the legs and the butt. So now that you don't have the material on the end, you can get in there and go again, as detailed as you want. And the main thing I would say here is you want to try and keep this shape to like match up the belly. Because right now, our legs go all the way around, but eventually we're going to be taking those off. And so we want it to be a smooth, round transition. So there were legs here, but now we've just got a smooth part there. So you want to try and like visualize where that curve is. And yeah, so you're going to try and match up that shape as best you can. That way you have less material to remove later on. Okay? And now you're done on the lathe. I mean, that's it. You can do some sanding. I would not do any finishing at this point, but because if you put a finish on, you're going to have to refinish where the legs were afterwards, but I would sand it on the lathe. Question?
What's your reversing to turn the inside of the bowl?
Say it again.
The reversal technique to do the inside of the bowl.
It's kind of your preferred method, but you're saying to sand the inside of the bowl?
No,
to hollow it out. So to hollow it out, you're going to have your tenon on there, and so you just grab onto it, and it's just hollowing like
that's
a bowl.
what I thought. When I saw the picture, I wasn't sure if that's what you were going to hold on to.
Yeah, so this I've already removed the tenon there. So if we go here, we've got a tenon.
The pig was in the way.
yeah, exactly. Yep. But yeah, so after you hollow out the inside, and so I guess like that is one of the other things is keep your steps in order. That you want to like finish out the inside of your bowl, and then you can do whatever you want on the outside afterwards.
Right.
Yeah, good question.
Cody, are you expanding out on that, Chuck, or are you squeezing on something on the inside of the bowl?
When you turn it back around?
In that position, is it already hollow?
Yeah, here it's already hollowed, and so it's your preference. Do you want to do a jam chuck and have it held up, or do
Okay.
you want to expand on the inside?
That's why I was confused about, gotcha, not just that picture, but
Yeah.
how are you holding, you can't hold on to that. So you've expanded that
Yeah.
jaw into the.
Exactly, and just because I didn't, at the time, I didn't have a good block to push, one that I wanted.
Yeah.
So it's kind of your personal preference of just whatever you like doing or whatever's easiest. I think that if you go for an expanding or cold jaws, you're going to cover up a little bit of it, so it's going to be tougher to see your shape to help match up. That would be the only one that I wouldn't necessarily, like that would be the least favorite to do it.
For vacuum, it's like a vacuum trap.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with, or whatever your setup allows. Yep, good questions. So we sand it, we take it off the lathe, and then now we're going to get into some carving. This should be some fairly simple carving. I know that I talked about the chains and stuff the past demo. This is way simpler. And so the main things here is use what you're comfortable with. So one of the main ones I would recommend is using a Dremel, because you can do any of the cutting off. And so this one, I did use a Dremel, and I just ended up like gluing these back on, but you can take this ring off, and now you can see a little bit more shape. And I tried to do it as as much so that I could put it back on, but you can get a lot better with the Dremel. But with the Dremel, you can use the saw, to cut it. You can use the sander to, smooth this transition, and then you can use different burrs to get details. But if your hands don't work, or you don't like a Dremel, that kind of thing, you can use, the bandsaw. But the one thing I would say with the bandsaw is be careful holding it, because you're not gonna be as supported. So make sure that you've got some jigs, or you're comfortable with what you're doing. So that is an option, but just be careful with it. But another good way of getting this off is using the belt sander. That's a good way of removing this material too. And depending on your orientation of the wood, if you've got side grain, a lot of times you can just break it off because it's not, or depending on where it is, you can break it off. So there's different ways, but again, it's just carving, it's removing it. So anything that isn't a pig, remove it. And that's as simple as carving is. Okay? And that's all there is to it. So again, in general, it's pretty simple, where you're just making a bowl, you leave a ring around where your feet are, and then you cut off everywhere except for the two spots that your legs are going to be. Okay?
For the legs, do you orient the grain so it is, you don't want cross grain in there where it would break off easily, right?
Right.
So you got to select it so that you got the long fibers.
Yes, that's a good point, good question. So he asked about orientation. So this one is a side grain bowl, and on side grain you would have all of your grain going this way. So if I had my legs on this side, it's going to be short fiber side grain would snap off. But if you're in the middle, now you've got long grain. So this one is a side grain bowl. This one is actually an end grain bowl. So I've got the pith right there. And so this one would not be as strong, but if you keep them a little thicker, you'll be okay. So that is something to consider, and depending on your angle of your legs. So with this, I'm doing the legs coming straight down. So that's not going to be as strong, but if I had my legs coming out, then it would be stronger. So that is something to think about at the beginning, is that orientation. And at the end, I'll mention a few other things that you can think about too in terms of your setup. But yeah, that's a good question, a good point. Yep. Other questions, comments of the basics there? Okay. So, other things that you can do once you've played with this, and I know that Scott mentioned that, for next month, we could, the member challenge is to do some sort of an animal bowl. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. So there's circular-ish animals, so you got puffer fish, elephants if you make them caricatures. So there's some options there. You can elongate them into oval-shaped animals, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have penguins. And one of the questions that we talked about earlier, you could do a penguin just like you normally do, but just cut it open at the beginning, hollow it out, and now you have a penguin box. And so that is one more thing that you could do, is make it a box. And I'll touch on that, but I'll also mention I real quickly just tried to do a Dachshund wiener dog. And so this was on the lathe. I had, my axis was not completely centered just so that I would have more material where the legs are. All I used here was the lathe, the bandsaw a little bit, and some chisels. And I think that the shape is decent. I mean, I haven't done any details here, but I think it's close enough. But this was just kind of another proof of concept that you can do different animals and different shapes. You just kind of have to think about where that rotational symmetry is. And if you're going to be turning the legs are going to also be above. So you just have to anywhere that there's a bump out, it's going to be on both sides. So make sure that you keep it on the lathe and you can carve it off after. So does that make sense? I know that one was kind of confusing and talking about a lot of different stuff there. But it's not so bad. Take a picture, look at a reference photo of what you're turning, and wherever there's a thing that sticks out, leave it. And then I mentioned you can make it a box. And the only thing that you would add into there is at the beginning, you would just make your lip and make sure that it fits on with the other side that you want. And then the rest is the same. You have your tenon on there. You carve your outside shape, your rough curve that you're going to be doing, have some legs sticking out, turn it around, and then hollow out the inside. Once you've got your hollow where you want it, your bowl shape, you can turn off the tenon. And on this one, I've left it because I need a little bit more material for where the face is going to be. Can you do this guy here? So the other one, So the other one is the back legs, and the tail's going to be nothing. So I removed a lot of the tenon. This one, if I'm going to be carving a face into that, I need more material, so I haven't turned it away on the lathe. And I also didn't want to go into the details of the ears and stuff, so I just said, well, I'll just carve all of that. But otherwise, it's the same steps. So there's that. And yeah, you can see kind of the shape there of roughly what it's going to be. If you don't visualize the top here, we've got our curve, we've got a round fat pig, and we're going to have a face in the front. So can you guys kind of see that or kind of imagine what that is? Yes, I can see it. So that's eventually would be a pig. And final thoughts and considerations, we already touched on the grain and the grain orientation. Another thing that you can consider is the pith and where the pith is going to be. So like walnut has a small like black or like brown hole. So you could play with that and place it wherever you want it on your pig butt. So that's just something that you could think about and play with. And then the last thing is your leg length. So the original bowls that I did last year were these. And I didn't have the idea of doing a pig or an animal when I did these. I just liked the idea of them being able to stand up. And so these legs are a lot shorter than my outer diameter. And so when they sit like that, they're sitting up. And you could use this just for any regular bowl design. If you want to display the inside, you just have your legs, shorter nubs, and it'll lean this way. Or if you want it to sit flat, you keep your outer diameter the same as your leg length, or just a smidge longer because you'll be removing the outside curve. But basically you keep it the same, and that will have it sitting flat. Or you can make them longer, and then it would have to be supported against something. So this, I do like having it kind of book-ended up against something flat, and it just kind of looks, cute here where it's like sitting and, ran into a wall or something. But if you made longer legs on it at the beginning, you had your foot extend farther than your outer diameter, then it would have to sit flat against something, and then it would even give it more of that like ran into a wall effect. So just some things to think about and play with. But again, I can't stress this enough. It's a bowl with a foot, and you carve off and you just remove more of the foot, and that's what's left. So it's kind of a fun thing, kind of cute, and that's what I got. So more questions or comments or concerns? Anything at all?
How many hours in one piece?
One.
One.
I mean, like, how long does it take to carve just a bowl of this size? I mean, that takes, 15 minutes at most kind of thing. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are quicker at doing that. And then you're leaving the foot, then it's just however comfortable or whatever tools you have. I mean, if I were doing it for speed, I would probably use a Dremel, cut through it, and I would end up doing a better job cutting through the legs there. But then you take this to the belt sander and you just kind of rotate it around there. And so now you've removed all of that, and it's however detailed you want to get on the feet. But with the Dremel and a sanding drum, you just round the corners and there you go. So there's not too much to it. I would say the thing that took the longest is carving the tail. And that's however detailed you want, but there are other ways around it. If you're like, I can't do any carving, you can round it perfectly flat and then use your laser, use a wood burner, and draw a squiggly, So.
In my shop, that would take a week and a half.
I don't think so. I've seen your turning. I don't think so.
What are you gonna get in a hurry for?
Gotta throw a beer in there a couple times.
Yeah.
Tell you, or something like that.
Yeah. Any more questions? Does it seem like something that you guys can do, or does it seem difficult?
It's above my skill level.
Well, if you can do it, I'll do it.
I agree. Yeah. So hopefully we'll give it a try because it's not bad. It's not bad. So. But yep. So that's what I got. Short and sweet.
All right.
Interesting.